It's a seltzer with a wink of THC and equal doses of CBD, because you know when you're hanging out with your friends and they just bring out the absolute best in you? Well, that's exactly what happens when THC and CBD come together in every can of Wynk. It's perfectly balanced, it's light, it makes a bubbly buzz that's enjoyable for every night of the week. 0 calories, 0 sugar, and more importantly, 0 hangover. Hi, Justin Glaze.
How are we doing?
Welcome to After Curfew.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being here. I mean, we're like, what were we yapping about before? Some edibles, some bad experiences.
Edibles, Reddits, chit chats.
Bachelor Reddit is where we were actually at.
That's right.
Have you ever read something about yourself on there that you're like, what the actual fuck?
Honestly, yes. More times than I'd like to admit.
True or false, though?
I think they're opinions, right? So I can't invalidate people's opinions about me. Some are great and I love to see them. Others are yikes. But there are things, the beauty of Reddit is that it's anonymous, right? But the frustrating part is that it's anonymous. So there are some things occasionally that you see that you're like, that's not how that went. Like I'm a nice guy, right? So whenever I see somebody in public, like 99.9 times out of 10, out of 100, wow, I can't do math. I'm gonna like chit chat. I'm gonna yap. We're gonna be best friends. I'm gonna take the picture, all the things, right? And that 0.1%, right? I remember this one time, it was kind of fresh off the show, and I was at a bar, and this person came up to me, and she just put her hand in my face, and I was like, whoa. And my friends were looking at me like, are you good? I'm like, oh, it's fine. Like she's, had a couple drinks, like she's good. And so she's just pointing, staring, and I'm like, hi. Like I'm trying to break the awkwardness. I'm like, hey. And she's like, I know you. And I'm like, hey, what's up? And she's like, can I take a picture? I'm like, sure, of course. So she gets her phone out, flash on, which I appreciate because it was a dark bar.
You're like, if you're gonna do this, let's get the good fucking lighting. Let's get the flash on.
I'm like, so thank you. And she's like, no. I was like, are you gonna get in? She was like, no, just of you. I was like, oh. I was like, I don't know what to do. She was like, I just want to take a picture of you. I was like, I'm sorry. I don't know. Like, I'm down to take one with you, but I was like, I don't really know what I feel like a caged animal. I'm like, what do I do? Like, you know? And so she got so mad at me and like went and got her boyfriend. And she was like, you think you're so fucking cool, blah, blah. I'm like, yo. All my friends are like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. I'm like dead sober. I'm like, this is too much. And so she rallies the troops. They're all like flicking me off and like making a spectacle in the middle of the bar. I'm like, oh my God. Yeah. So later I saw on Reddit, it was like, oh, I met Justin Glaze at a bar in Baltimore and he was such a dick. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, tell the full story of like, you know what I mean?
You're gonna
I'm like,
talk some shit.
Yeah.
Let's,
But that's really one of the only things I've seen that's like not, well, yeah, The rest are just like opinions and stuff.
Opinions. Okay, and we can handle that. Yeah. One thing that I loved about, you were on Katie's season, right?
Yes.
Okay. Facial expressions, you're like me, you have subtitles.
Yes.
You don't know how to control them.
Can't hide them.
Like, did you even realize that you do that?
Honestly, not until, well, I was aware of it probably like all through school. If something, like I was always my grades were always great, but all my report cards were like social butterfly, like class clown,
you're
chats
a yapper.
too much.
You're definitely a yapper, yeah.
And so I feel like I was a bit of the comedic relief. And so anytime something funny happened in class or the teacher said something, like kids would always turn and like look at my face because they knew I was going to react. And so I didn't really, I could never see myself. So I'm like, why is everyone like always looking at me? And people were like, your face is so funny. And then once I saw it on TV, I was like, oh, that's what people have been talking about this whole time. Yeah. Because I'd never really seen it before firsthand. So I was like aware of it, but I didn't really know how insane it looked until I saw it on the screen.
You have to play it back. Yeah. Okay, so now we're thriving. We're living in LA.
Yes.
We're dating. Okay, because I did like a little deep dive on you, as I do with everybody.
Yeah.
You were dating Susie Evans.
Correct.
Are we together? Are we broken up? What's the tea there?
Yeah, we are unfortunately not together right now. So it's been, time's flying. It's been a couple months.
Okay.
But yeah, love her to death. She's the best. She's a gem. One of the kindest souls you ever meet. So fortunately we are still on like excellent terms. We're still, I would say, like, it's hard to say super close, right? Because it's like, why aren't you together?
Right.
But we were best friends before we started dating, and it's hard to break up and go back to, it's not realistic to be best friends again, right? It just wouldn't be appropriate. So I am fortunate for the relationship that we were able to maintain, but it has been honestly one of the toughest things that I've had to navigate, because it's not only losing a partner, but it's literally losing your best friend. And we moved out here to LA about a month apart from each other, and just like how our relationship happened was so like serendipitous, that we really leaned on each other so much. Coming out here, we had a couple friends, that we knew, but for the most part, we're both East Coasters. So our really, really close friends and family are both on the East Coast. When we came out here around the same time, like, we had each other, and that was it.
You said that you guys are still like very cool with each other. Like, what is your take though, like, on people being friends with their exes? Like, do you actually think that people can be?
I think cordial is probably a more appropriate word, right? Like, I think it is obviously very possible to have zero animosity, to still maintain that love for that person, to still support that person, all those things. But, before we were dating, we were ripping errands, going to the flea market, getting lunch together and stuff like that, right? And at that point, once you've broken up, if you're still doing those things, it's like, so you're still dating? You know what I mean? So to have that level of friendship is probably unrealistic. And then inevitably, you may each start dating other people, right? So then that relationship definitely is going to look a lot different.
Yeah.
Susie would always say this thing where once we were friends and we like teetered on crossing that line, she's like, we're like best friends, and if we cross this line, she's like, I always pictured you at my wedding, and it's either as my husband or like as my best friend, and if we cross this line and it doesn't work out, like, you won't be there. You know what I mean? It's just the reality of the situation. And so I don't think it's possible to like go from dating to being like super close friends, because like I said, eventually you may start dating other people, and that dynamic is just not going to be appropriate for whoever your future partner is, I would assume.
Yeah, if the roles are reversed, you obviously wouldn't want, like,
no,
fuck.
no shot.
Yeah. Okay, so like, are we okay? I'm so sorry, I just put your life on
No, it's
blast.
all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Okay, but we're just one day at a
we're
time.
staying afloat. We're trying to thrive. We're surviving. We're getting through. Every day brings its obstacles. Every day it's been a roller coaster. You've got your good days. You've got your really, really tough days.
Yeah.
But I've got an amazing family to lean on, and an amazing therapist. Shout out to my girl.
We love a good therapist.
So it's been okay.
Yeah. And I think it's one of those things where you can break up with somebody on like good terms, and it almost hurts harder. Like, I personally, cheat on me, do the most fucking horrendous shit to me, because it is going to, I'll be like, okay, then you're a piece of shit. At
least you can rip the Band-Aid. You're like,
right.
ugh.
But when you stay friends, like, I had an ex who, like, we just were not right for each other. Like, our paths were totally like just going separate. And I'm like, this would like, you should have done something shitty to me.
We literally have said the same thing. Like, this is so insane hard. Because it's like nobody did anything, right? Like, there's obviously reasons why we broke up, but like nobody did anything to like hurt the other or like do the other dirty. So it's like, damn, this is tough. You know what I mean? And keeping that contact and like figuring out, do we like go no contact, or do we stay in touch, and like staying in touch make it harder, or like does going no contact make it harder, or like do we need the time and space? It's so hard to navigate. But I totally agree with you. It's like, I wish one of us had done something. You know what I mean? So I could
dirty.
just block you out of my life and keep it pushing. But all jokes aside, like, I am glad in retrospect that wasn't the case. That, because I would hate to. She's such a beautiful person, like I said, that I, am still grateful to have her in my life at some capacity. So, it is what it is.
What's your sign?
I'm a Gemini.
I'm a Gemini.
Are you really?
Okay, because yes, I am. But when's your birthday?
June 13th.
Okay.
What are you?
I'm May 28th.
Oh, so you're a cusper.
I'm like a cusp on Taurus.
Okay. Yeah, had it not been for you being a Gemini, I was expecting like a, whenever I tell people I'm a Gemini,
because
like,
I love Geminis, but I don't like Gemini men. But you might change my mind. Because
there we go. That's what I'm here to do.
Yeah, good vibes.
Good vibes.
But I've had like 2 bad Gemini experiences. Okay. But they were also comedians.
That doesn't shock. Ooh, those funny guys will get you.
The funny guys, it doesn't matter how fucking ugly you are. If you're funny, if you could just get by. And I don't even get it. Like, okay, because girls, obviously, we have pretty privilege.
Yeah.
Do you feel like, I feel like guys have funny privilege. If you're funny, you're hotter.
I agree with that. I agree with that. Like, I do think personality goes a long way. But I do think that there are some guys, I feel like, I feel like it's a different but similar vibe. Like some girls can have pretty privilege where it's like they're so hot that they don't have to bring anything else to the table. You know what I mean? Like they don't have to have depth or humor or any of those things. Like wouldn't work for me. I gotta laugh. But I feel like there's also guys who just know they're so good looking and they get away with it, you know, and they're kind of dickheads. So I think that is the case with guys as well sometimes. But if you're funny and you're a guy, like I don't think it works the other way around for girls, right? Like if you're not attractive and you're funny, it's like
next.
Hey,
no, that's so bad, but it's so true.
But if you're a guy and you're funny, you can pull.
Get by.
You can pull. Yeah.
You could look like a whole ass like Shrek, and people will be like, "But there's something about him."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, it's like, and it's funny too because a lot of girls like who do like have the pretty privilege, it's like that's what I bring to the table, period.
Yeah.
Like I don't got to do that much.
I feel like that was, you know, in the few months that I was dating trying to date before Susie, I feel like that's a lot of what I was running into in LA is just like girls that know they're pretty but know that their options are seemingly limitless, and it's like what's the next shiny toy, like what's the next best option, and what they're bringing to the table is their physical attraction. Right. But it's like that works for some people, you know, whatever. But I don't want to like categorize. But for me, I'm like, you know, you got to have more than that. You got to have some substance.
Exactly.
You know? So if it works to you, hey, more power to you.
Before, when you were like dating, what was the vibe? Like, were you like on the dating apps or like?
So for like a hot second, but also I got off them pretty quick because when I got on them, like I was never on, like I would be on them for like a hot second at a time. And I don't know, I just also I'm not like a big small talk conversationalist kind of guy, you know? So for me at my tender age, you know, I'm like, I don't have the time or energy to entertain like 15 different dating app conversations, you know? It's like, all right, like if I can catch a vibe from your text, like good banter, whatever, like let's get together, right? But even beyond the apps, like in person, I'd meet somebody and they'd be like, oh, like these guys, and they'd complain about the guys in LA, right? They take no initiative. They are this, they're that. And then it's like I try to take initiative. I'm like, hey, got a reservation at this place this time. Crickets.
Wait, really?
Oh, yeah. Got stood up twice. Not like I didn't show up.
Wait.
Thank God I didn't show up to the establishment.
Wait, what happened? Okay, wait. So it was before.
Oh like, my God. Yeah, it was before,
like ghosted via text.
Yeah, so it's like I would meet these people in person, and we would hit it off. And it's like they'd complain about dating in LA. The guys, one was even like, "I can tell you're different. You're from the East Coast. You're not like the others here." I'm like, "That's right." You know what I mean? And so they're like, you know, like guys don't take initiative. I'm like, okay, well, what are you doing tomorrow? You want to go out? Let's do it. Tomorrow rolls around, crickets. 5 p.m. Oh, I fell asleep. I'm sorry. Okay, strike one. Reschedule. I probably gave too many strikes. I let it get to strike 3. But it was like, you know, I would take the initiative and plan a date and then nothing.
But do you ever have like conversations like, what are you looking for? Because I feel like a lot of people in LA, it's like you don't want to like bring that up too early.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you need to have those types of conversations. Like day one, I'm asking you if you want to get married, if you're like looking for children. Like, I'm sorry, I don't have time to waste. No. Not even in like a psychotic way, but like just like,
so we're not wasting each other's time.
Yeah, like I don't have time, we're booked.
I think people are afraid to communicate, whether it's like what you're looking for, like asking what you're looking for and being open and honest about what you're looking for, or just being communicative about like where you stand relationship wise. Hey, like I'm, you know, just getting out of something, like I don't know if I'm ready, like just communicate with somebody, right? And then they can make that decision whether or not they want to pour into that or take a step back and, you know, circle back, you know, and we're both available and on the same page, and like, let's do it. But, you know, if that's not the case, then it just gets messy. And
what are some deal breakers that like you've noticed in the past that you've like collected now where you're like, moving forward, I will never accept like XYZ?
Ooh, yeah. This one may seem cliche or like super basic, but somebody that's just rude, whether it's to like wait staff or to friends, family members, just like the way that someone speaks to people, especially people like in service, I think is like a huge ick, like, ugh.
Yeah.
I've been out on dates in the past where somebody like was just so disrespectful to like a worker, and I was like, I cannot get out of this date fast enough. I think it's great for people to have expectations of whoever they're dating or their partner, but a deal breaker, I think, is expectations in the sense that someone just expects to take and not give anything of themselves. And I think that kind of, again, not to categorize, but I think that kind of coincides with some of that pretty privilege, right? Where it's like, for me at least, right? It works for other people's relationships, but for me, it's like, what are you bringing to the table where we're both like filling each other's cup? And so a deal breaker for me is somebody that just expects to be like given, and not like give anything of themselves to the relationship. And not in like a materialistic sense, like it can be, but like just like emotionally or like support wise or anything like that, right? Like somebody that expects to receive all those things, but isn't willing to give it themselves. Is a deal breaker for me.
I mean, because that's the thing, like with relationships, like sometimes like I'll be at 10%, like my partner will be at like 80, and like we gotta like work. Like there's days where you like are fucking tired, and there's days where like you're not in a good mood, but you do have to like find that like equilibrium. Is that the right word to use?
Yeah.
But that you really have to like find that like balance, and it's like it's okay if you're not like feeling like 100 every day, but like you really have to have that like give and take with like a partner in order for it to be like fully successful.
I typically won't enter like a committed relationship if I'm feeling like that's something that I feel like I typically feel out pretty early on. And so that it's a deal breaker for me. So like I won't even enter a relationship if I feel like somebody's like that. So no, I haven't been in a relationship where that's been the case because I won't let it get to that point. Yeah. I can feel that out pretty early.
So I was watching this video, doing a little deep dive scroll on TikTok as we do. Do you just like rot on your phone?
Yes.
Okay. Love that. Same. It's so bad.
Often.
Like my brain is like absolutely fried. Yes. But I was watching this video about like how guys will pick boxes and they know like straight away. Like, do you feel like men actually, like you're on a first date and you know like this is either wife material, someone I can probably just like fuck around with and fuck, or like I don't really know what the third box would be. There was one. I'll have to like look at the video, but you get where I'm going with it.
I'm not gonna lie, I think guys know really early on.
But like, okay, a first date?
Honestly, again, I don't want to like say, I don't want to speak for all men here, but I think for me, I know pretty early on. Like, I think it's possible first date. I think is the third box like a maybe? Like maybe this can grow into something
maybe
sort of thing?
Maybe the third box is like a maybe.
So here's the thing. I would say even that third box is kind of skewed towards that like wifey material, right? I think if we want to simplify it, I think on a first date whether you just want to hook up with this person or if they have potential. If you see potential dating, not necessarily like this kid's gonna be my wife one day. You know what I mean? But I think I think early on like I'm just trying to fuck, or like I want to go on a second date with this person and like actually get to know them. I think 100% first date you can know that.
For me, when I go on like a guy's like Instagram, I can know like Tatiana or like.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So I don't want to answer a question with a question, but
okay.
Is it based on the type of stuff that he posts? Because 100%. I'm not gonna lie, I got kind of offended by a TikTok I saw recently.
Wait, okay, were you giving Tatiana?
No. I don't post anything like, I don't post like thirst traps. Stuff.
Okay.
But I saw something and like, it kind of pisses me off. Like those TikToks where it's like my list of icks for guys and it's like 5 pages long. I'm like, okay, so I can't wear the color green. Like it's gonna, you know what I mean? It's like stupid shit. But I saw this one TikTok where it's like, the boys who have like an aesthetic Instagram, like, ugh. I'm like, whoa. Let's roll it back here. I'm an artist, okay? I have an artist's eye. So I love aesthetics. I'm into a lot of stuff that typical guys aren't into. Like I love decor, interior design. I paint, you know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm a right brain, left brain kind of guy. You know, I love aesthetics.
Right.
So shame on me for having an somewhat aesthetic Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah, okay.
And so that kind of like perturbed me a little bit. So I like, is it and be honest, you're not gonna hurt my feelings, but like, is that the type of thing where if you see like an aesthetic Instagram from a guy, you're like, ugh.
It does. It gives me the
really?
Yeah. It's just kind of like, what are we doing? Like, why are we putting so much thought into it? And I know, okay, that's rude because then it's like us girls are like looking at a photo, like our eyes, like we're face tuning the shit out of everything. I understand. But like sometimes like social media to me is like a little bit for the girls.
Okay.
And so like when guys give it so much, like give so much thought into the social media, I'm like, what are we doing? Like go build a house.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. But
no. And I appreciate the honesty. So like, you don't think that, because to me, it translates to other facets of life, right? And I might be thinking too deep into it.
No,
but I saw one where it's like, you know, if a guy, they were like, it was, I feel like they were speaking to me. I was like,
you're like, damn, that's where you really said for you
for
today.
Real. So she was saying how like, if a guy posts an Instagram story, right? Okay. And you know how you can like tag the location?
Yeah.
So like, let's say this was our backdrop. Like if they line up the location with like the top of a building, they're like, ick.
Oh.
I'm like, it's attention to, like, what do you want me to like be slanted?
Yeah.
And like covering the, you know what I mean? Like,
okay.
Like ick. And I'm like, okay, to me, it's attention to detail, and I'm a very organized person, right? So a lot of those guys who don't care about their Instagram don't care about a lot of stuff. So you move in with them, those are the guys that are gonna have dishes in the sink, dirty drawers all over the, you know, your counters and all that. So pick your poison.
Okay, no, that's actually a really good rebuttal.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I get that. I think there's just certain things, like, I get what you're saying, but then I can understand from the TikTok where, like, there are certain things where I'm just like, why are we doing the most? But, like, attention to detail, love that.
Yeah.
We want a clean house. We want all these things. And, like, if that's your personality and you're just showing it on the Instagram. Correct. I think it's almost like the fit pics. Okay. When there's too many, if you got like a carousel of 5, we gotta wrap that down to like 2. You know, it's a little too much. Okay. No, I hear you. Like, oh, but there's probably things like, what are the things on a female's Instagram that you look at and you're like, okay, she's trying too hard or she's doing too much. Like, what are those things? Like, give us the icks. Tell us. Yeah. So, I mean, I feel like, again, and this may be harsh, but if I go to a girl's page and it's all like bikini pics and just giving self-absorbed, like if her whole entire grid features no friends, no food, like give me a slice of pizza or something. Like show me what you like to eat. You know what I mean? Something, if it's just self-absorbed, if it's giving self-absorbed, then I'm automatically categorizing you. Like you could be the sweetest person, but I wouldn't know it from your page. So if it's, again, if I am judging a book by its cover, which I try not to do, but if I go to that page and it's giving self-absorbed, like same, like you're putting a lot of thought and effort into your page and whatever, then I'm most likely categorizing you in the bucket of like, probably not my type to date, because it's going to probably give not giving, just taking. Not giving. See how I'm bringing this full circle here? Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, my sweet mother has Instagram. So I also think through a lens of like, okay, would I want my mother seeing this type of content? Ooh, okay. To her potential future mother of her grandchild, right? Like I think through all those things, right? So with that being said, it's like, okay, if I'm thinking short-sighted, cool, we could probably hook up, have a good time. It is interesting how like certain things are just like, like I'm good. Yeah. I like to see some personality on the page. Let me say this, ladies, don't write a guy off just because he has an aesthetic Instagram, okay? I think there's a balance. So because I get what you're saying, right? But like on my page, like there are some aesthetic things, but I've also got just like videos of me being a complete clown, right? So it's like you can tell, you can tell I don't take myself that serious. Yeah. Like I like nice things, but I also don't take myself that serious. So I think having that balance, like because your page is a resume, right? And especially like if you work in social media to a certain degree, like you also want to be presentable to brands. So I think that also goes into it. So it's like, I don't think you can like just kind of give this blanket like ick. It's like, okay, some people work in social media and like brands aren't gonna want to work with somebody who has a dead fish in their hand, ladies. Okay. Not a fish pic. You know what I mean? Like, is that what you guys want? So I think it's layered. Yeah. Not me getting defensive over my Instagram. No, I'm like, okay. But no, I think if you can see some personality from the page, then, you know. Do you ever slide in the DMs? I'm not a DM slider. Really? I don't really have game like that. Really? Which I think is also, I was talking about this recently. I think it's also, I mean, there's double standards on both sides. And actually I've heard girls with differing opinions, but I feel like sometimes girls want like, and I could be wrong. I've heard on both sides, but I feel like
more times than not, girls want like, I don't want to say an extravagant, but like a unique dive, right? Whereas I feel like girls can just be like, hi, or like, Justin. You know what I mean? It's like, and if you're good looking, a guy might respond. But what is your take? Like if a guy is attractive enough and he's just like, Jill, are you gonna like?
No, I'd be like,
right, you want something creative.
Yeah, you're gonna just like live in the DM request.
So if you were to dive in the DM, would you be creative or would you just be like?
See, I would never dive in anyone's DMs.
Yeah.
But I think there's a right way to do it. I think you don't, like as a guy, I don't think you want to look like you're always doing this.
Right.
Like there's guys where I'm like, you copy paste that shit to like 20 other girls, guarantee. But if it's like thoughtful, like I don't know, you're not really on dating apps? Mm-mm. Okay. Because I feel like on dating apps, it's like you could tell when somebody's like just repeating the same thing, but it's like, okay, you looked at a photo or you brought something up. Like when you have that like mindfulness, it's like, ooh, okay, like you gave like 1 second of your time, which is like the bare freaking minimum. But I think that's when you like, I'm like, okay, I can see where this goes.
That. Yeah, I feel like when I was on dating apps, like it was more so that approach. Like you look at the prompts or something like that, or, you know what I mean? And I did also try to be conscious of like, not liking like the hottest picture, right? It's like because everyone's
so you got to be strategic.
Yeah,
you can't do like the titties ass out. You got to do like the I'm with the horse. Or I'm with my grandma.
Exactly.
It's like we love that. We love nature.
Right. We love nature. We love animals. So let's talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was more of my approach.
But do you feel like that's calculated in a way?
I mean, I guess technically.
Yeah.
But it's also like intentional because I don't want you. If I'm actually interested, like I don't want you to think that I'm just like objectifying you and I'm like, oh my God, like, yeah, ass, like, you know, I want to, like, if I'm interested, it's like, okay, like, I noticed something else interesting on your profile that, like, made me want to, like, you know, engage in a conversation other than just, like, you being hot.
Right.
You know, so some may call it calculated, others may call it mindful.
Game. Very mindful.
Very mindful.
God, remember when we were all saying that, like, a week ago?
Oh, my God. I wanted to slip my ears off.
I feel like my mind is just like a rotation of TikTok songs, and it's like
their studies have shown. Not me speaking scientifically.
Bring out the
studies
statistics.
Studies have shown that kids these days are more inclined to have Tourette's.
Well, shit. I mean, I think we're both.
Yeah, and I'm like, I might have a touch of it.
Just a sparkle.
I find myself like cleaning, and I'm just like very mindful. I'm like, fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
no, it's so true. Like, you have 30 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, bitch, why?
It's
awful.
Scary.
It is, actually. But, like, what else can you do? Oh, that's another thing, too. Like, okay, like, when you're dating somebody, like, one of my friends, she's dating a guy who's, like, way older. And, like, we were all hanging out recently. And it's, like, you literally have no idea what we're talking about. Like, we're speaking a totally different language. Yeah. Like, I feel like it's so important to, like, date somebody who either is hip with it or like in the age bracket because like, babe, if I say very mindful, very demure and you don't know what I'm talking about, you have 30 minutes. You need to get the fuck out of here. Like I don't know. I feel like you got to have a brain rot. You got to have a little sparkle of the Tourette's.
Yes,
a little sprinkle.
We have to. We joke around with one of my friends. It's so weird. Like he's my brother's age, but he's like in management at his company and he's like 33, 34.
Yeah.
But he's got like some younger subordinates and he's just like some of the like lingo that they say. I'm like, dude, you are sounding so old, but it's true. It's like, he's like, I'm not on TikTok like that. So he's like, I have no clue what, you know, they're talking about. And he's like, you know, a kid will be like, oh, I showed up like, 15 minutes earlier to me. He's like, yeah, I was being very mindful. He's like, what are these kids talking about?
Yeah,
you know,
so
I'm like,
mental.
Get with the time. Start scrolling.
Start scrolling. Start the brain rot with us.
Yeah, exactly.
Get on the Tourette's train.
I was a little shit back in the day.
Okay, tell me.
I have grown. In my younger days, I was like definitely more hesitant to post like a significant other on social media for a couple of reasons. Like, one, I feel like some of my early relationships, I'm like, you know, this isn't gonna be
not gonna be it forever.
Gonna be it forever. So like, what's the point? And you know, whatever. Every relationship's different. Like, I don't think that there's like, okay, if we hit this mark, like you better be posting, right? But I think it's about, again, understanding your partner's expectations. And if it's like, hey, if we're exclusive and like we're hooking up and like you're, you know, reaping the benefits of this relationship, then like show me. And if that's your partner's expectations and that's not what you're willing to do, then I think that they're entitled to have that expectation, right?
Yeah.
I think it does come a point in time where like if you have been in a relationship for a while and he's still hiding you, like run, babe.
Baby girl.
Run. You
But
know
like
what I mean?
what's like a long time though? Because some men will like literally come out of the woodworks like married. I'm like, excuse me, sir, you were just double tapping my photos like last week this time.
Yeah, it's insane.
It's mental.
It's insane. Like I would urge women to take a deeper dive into why they aren't being posted. It could be a very telling conversation. You may get your feelings hurt. But the guy also probably isn't going to be honest. But like, listen isn't like listen to what he is spewing, right? Like, men can be hell. Men can be hell. Somebody could say, "Oh, it's only been 3 months," right? And to me, I'm like, okay, I could see that being too early, right? Because again, it's nuanced. If this is a relationship that is public versus isn't public, I think those are two different things, right? Because if a relationship is public, right? If let's say I'm dating somebody who's not public facing, or even if they are, right?
Yeah.
If we're both public facing, there's a microscope under that relationship, right? So if you post each other 3 months into the relationship and then it blows up, you open yourself up for criticism and all these things, right? So I think that's a different conversation versus somebody who is, living in Rancho Cucamonga and,
Rancho Cucamonga.
Yeah, it's the most random place in LA I can think of. I got a friend from there.
Oh my gosh, I've never heard of that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Random little place up north. But like, if you're just like hometown dating, it's like, what are we hiding? Like, are you still holding on to your ting-tings that you just don't want to like post me because then they're going to know?
Yeah.
Or like, what's the holdup here, pal?
Exactly that. Also, when people don't delete their exes, like say if you guys do break up and you let that shit just live,
What are your thoughts on that?
I can't deal with that.
Really?
It's like if you are done with something, it kind of needs to be closed.
Okay.
If there's like you have like a huge like photo dump and there's like a sprinkle in there, but if you have like happy 4-year anniversary to the love of my that's gotta go real quick. You gotta archive that.
Yeah, I think I can see both sides. Like, I feel like it depends on how fresh or how long ago it is, right? Like, if we are going on our first date or whatever, and it's like second row down, I'm probably like, you're not over this. Categorized bucket, you know what I mean?
Oh, put it back in the bucket.
You know what I mean?
Put her back in the bucket.
But I think, some people are like, oh, it's a period of time in my life, right? Where like, for me personally, like, I don't foresee myself deleting pictures with Susie and I. You know what I mean? Like, I got a ton of love for her. It was a period of time of my life. Right? Again, never say like, I don't know where life is going to take me and her or, whatever. And so if it got to the point where, if my future significant other wasn't Susie and, it was somebody else and they were like, hey, it doesn't make me comfortable to see these pictures of your ex on your page, okay, absolutely, say no more.
Right.
But I also get where you're coming from, where I feel like some people's method of getting through something is out of sight, out of mind, which at times I can be that way and just want to like block stuff out. So I can see both sides.
The seeing like what your relationship is, like if I'm dating you and like I can like tap in, like best believe I'm gonna. Yeah,
you're doing.
We're like the FBI. Like we're gonna know who all your exes are. Absolutely. We're gonna know where they live, their dog's name. Like we're psycho. Yeah. No, I'm kidding. We're not psycho. But like we're gonna collect all this information. But if it's like right there on your page like and it's like a whole paragraph, it's like why are we? Like
you guys were just in San Tropez, like boot up.
Yeah, like, I'm just like give it a little like I don't know.
Yeah,
let's give it to the archives.
How do you feel? How do you feel about someone you're dating still following their ex?
I would die.
Really?
Okay, well, I don't know. I think really? I have to know context because I'm very, and I know it's like not the best way to be, but we're Geminis. Okay, so we're black and we're white. I mean, maybe I'll just speak for myself, but like I have to learn a little bit of the gray area where I'm very like, I see something I don't like. Okay, I'm okay. But at the same time, like it depends on like how it ended, how you talk about them. Like, you know, if there still seems to be like a hurt there, then I'm like, ooh, why are we following them? If it's like I have nothing but love and respect for this person, we were together for 3 years, like we just didn't work out. I'd be a little bit less like, why? But like I dated a guy, trauma, just period. That's it, full stop. No, but I was dating this guy and he still had a bunch of photos of his ex. And I'm like, and like these long, like, I love you messages, which also like if
like for the captions.
Yeah. Like, I'm sorry, if the captions are longer than 2 sentences, wrap it the fuck
It's
up.
like, sorry, I'm not reading all this, but I hope you're doing good. Or sorry that happened.
And I know you're doing bad because nobody who's like in a healthy, thriving relationship is writing like 2 paragraphs. Like no one's reading that. No one's reading that. Like, what are you trying to prove?
Right.
But that so we had like text. Several of them, exactly. And I'm just like I'm always like looking at it and they still followed each other. And I was like, that's
different. Yeah, that's tough.
This is getting weird. And then when I brought it up, it's like, oh, then I'm like the unstable one. I'm like, this is unstable. Y'all got to like tie these
like
ends.
Projection to me.
You must not have like wrapped up your feelings for this if it's still lingering.
Right.
Because like it is hard to remove a post. It's hard to delete things, like deleting photos, like on your camera roll. When you break up with somebody, do you like get rid of stuff or do you just let like...
me, I actually sit in the corner and just like...
You just cry?
Inflict pain on myself and just revisit them.
No.
Well... Yeah.
You're like,
no, not a lot. Yep. No, but yeah. Well, you know, it's like you scroll for something else, and you just like, oh, we did go on that trip. Oh, that was fun. And then you just go down a rabbit hole, and you hurt your own feelings.
No, I love to like sometimes go through memory lane, but like I mean, I don't know. Do you think it's weird if people do keep like photos from like past relationships? I think, okay, first of all, it depends on the photos. Like if you're keeping nudes,
oh my God,
absolutely not, diabolical. No. But like just like memories.
Again, I think like I'm far from a relationship expert. Like you know what I mean? Like I'm still trying to figure this stuff out. I think different relationships have different boundaries and different understandings. And I think timing does matter, right? Like if I'm getting out of a relationship and you and I have been dating for 2.5 weeks and you're like, why do you still have it? Like, why are you doing this and that? I'm like, well, let's pump the brakes. You know what I mean? Like we're warming up here. Right. But if you're in a committed relationship and it's like, okay, that's a different conversation where it's like, yeah, I get where you're coming from because I wouldn't feel comfortable with you having all this stuff, you know, on your phone. But it's also like one of those things where it's like, how much do you want to hurt your own feelings? Right. If you go looking, you're going to get hurt. So if it's kind of out of sight, out of mind, and it's like, yeah, I'm sure she has pictures of her ex on her camera roll, as do I, and it's like this unspoken thing, then whatever. It's one of those things, though, like, okay, by the time we married, though, like, that shit better be gone.
Swipe that.
Yeah.
Not even in the iCloud.
Delete and then remove from deleted.
Oh, yeah, because you can bring it back.
That's right.
Okay, so yeah.
So I mean, I think it's situational, you know? It's timing matters, all those things matter. But ultimately, it's like whatever works for your relationship, because there are relationships where, you know, the girl doesn't care if the guy's out here liking other girls' pictures. There's relationships where the girl's not okay with that, right? And so respect your partner, respect what makes them comfortable or uncomfortable. And if it doesn't align with your morals or what you're okay with, then that's fine too, but it's probably not going to work.
Right.
So you make that decision, right? Like, is it worth holding on to those pictures of your ex for the sake
of
like
what are you gaining?
What are you gaining?
And then what are you losing?
Right.
Because I think like if you do articulate like, hey, these are my terms and conditions, like I don't like this, and the partner's like, well, like has like an issue with it, or like is a little bit more like taken back, like, well, I'm gonna keep these. It's like, okay, well, my answer is so clear. Like you just thank you.
Exactly.
I will see myself out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I don't think anyone should be afraid to articulate and express like what their terms and conditions are, right? Like
I feel like a lot of people are like really, it's like hard to do that though. Like
why do you think that is?
I think a lot of women don't want to look like crazy. And they don't want to look like it's like you almost want to be like the cool girl. Like I think that's like a facade that a lot of women like deal with. Like I had to shake the cool girl like in my early 20s. Like I'm like, everything's fine. No. You want to double tap this photo
so
or
you're just gonna
you're
just gonna hold resentment inside you, and then one day you're gonna blow up about something that's not even directly correlated to what you're really mad at, and the guy's gonna have no clue why you're so mad, and because you haven't communicated that, right? And so this is something that I'm taking my own advice, right? Where like there's been times where, and you said something earlier where it's like the cool girl thing. Like no girl wants to come off crazy or whatever, right? The right partner is not going to make you feel crazy. He's going to validate you. And if you're expressing something that's going to make you uncomfortable, it should be like a kudos to you for voicing something that makes you uncomfortable. Thank you for communicating. And if he cares enough about you, then he's going to do anything in his power to not make you uncomfortable, and it shouldn't be an issue, right?
Right.
And if it becomes an issue, then that's a sign of like, okay, we need to unpack why this is so hard for you. You know what I mean? What's the issue here? What's your coffee order?
Just black. Plain black
You're
coffee.
so cool.
I know. No, I was kidding.
Well,
so what's yours?
No, it depends. Typically, like if I'm just keeping it simple.
Keeping it cool?
Yeah, keeping it cool, keeping it cute, like a little cold brew, splash of almond milk.
Okay.
If I'm feeling frisky, throw a little pump of caramel in there.
If you want to get wild with it.
I want to get wild. Good to go.
Okay. But do you drink coffee every day?
Almost.
Yeah, same.
Almost.
I can't.
Yeah.
Not. I mean, okay, I can not, but like I just love coffee.
Yeah, it's crazy because growing up, like I didn't start drinking coffee until a couple years ago. And honestly, I don't know if caffeine is like a placebo for me or if it actually works. I think I just like feel cool drinking coffee, but I don't know that it actually does anything
Like
for me.
helps you?
But if I have a cup of coffee, I'm like, I can conquer anything today. You know what I mean?
It's
Whereas
like
if I
the
don't,
morning,
I'm
like when I'm just like,
exactly right. Yeah,
you know, like you just feel like
actually,
you're like that
I'm gonna get
bitch.
to my emails.
Yeah.
But if I don't have my coffee, I'm like, today it's because I didn't have coffee. Like,
I know.
Oh my god, you know what I mean?
It's
I
like,
blame it on the coffee.
coffee's are like main character.
Yeah.
A glass of
Yeah.
wine.
Oh my god, we love it. You
like
strike me as a. You strike me. You love a red.
You know what? I actually don't.
You don't?
So
I'm a Sauvignon Blanc. I'm a Sauvignon.
me too. I'm a Sauvy B girl.
Really?
Okay. I love Sauvy B. I'm like dabbling into like the orange wines. Like I'm getting really snobby and really cunty with my orders.
Not elevated.
But yeah, I think Sauvy B. I love a chilled red.
Okay.
Chilled
I can
red
get
is
down with that.
like, yeah, I don't
like a dry. I can't do it.
Yeah, it just can't be too sweet. Like sometimes Sauvignon Blanc is a little too sweet.
Okay. You like a
But
Chardonnay, like a little
drier
buttery,
Sauvignon
long leg
Blanc?
Chardonnay.
No, Chardonnay is like for like older people. I feel like
I was
that's
gonna
not
say
like
my
that's
mother
like
loves Chardonnay.
I feel like when you get like to a certain age, like
she
Golden
loves
Girls,
Chardonnay,
like that was like their like rotation. I think it's like that. But like cocktail wise,
Oh, espresso martini.
gotta have the beans.
It's 3 beans or bust.
No, it's so true. I hate
3
when
beans
like
or
they don't give me
bust.
the beans. Give me the fucking
Disrespectful.
beans. It's
I don't know what's
rude.
more disrespectful between no beans or like an absurd amount of beans. Because I've been served an espresso martini with like 12 beans. I'm like, bro,
No,
you
that's
just
mental.
like, you know what I mean? Like, would you, like, you didn't have to do that. You went
No,
out
that-
of your way to do that.
But why?
At
That's
least no
so-
beans is like just negligence. Whereas like multiple beans is just like, you really said fuck you. You know what I mean?
No, they're like, I want you to choke on one of these
literally
motherfuckers.
choke on these fucking coffee beans.
What? No, 3 beans is standard. 2 is like, that's rude. 1,
Who does
bizarre.
2?
I was at a place recently and they gave me 2.
Seriously?
Also, like, it's like a coffee order where it's like, if it's creamy,
Oh, the Bailey.
the Bailey's.
Sorry, who
that's
ordered
what it is.
chocolate milk?
Thank
Like,
you.
what are we doing?
No, what are we actually
Bailey's
doing
in your
here?
espresso martini is so childish.
It is.
It's so childish.
You need to have it like fresh espresso
Has to be.
and then like whatever liqueur.
I can tell the difference.
What's I don't even know what the liqueur is.
It's either Mr. Black or Kahlua. It's the coffee liqueur.
Yeah, but like you can tell immediately when they walk it over. It's like turn that shit around. If it's like creamy,
Oh yeah. No, I'm like I'm an espresso martini snob.
okay, period.
Yeah, like I've actually caught folk in the act of giving me an espresso martini with cold brew instead of fresh espresso, and they thought that I wouldn't notice.
And what did you say? Did you raise hell? Flip
Well,
the table?
I didn't raise
Yelp?
hell. We always keep it. Keep it
Keep it classy. You keep it classy.
You know what I'm
I knew you
saying? So I was at this bar this one time, and the guy made an espresso martini, and something's not right.
You're
here.
like,
this, and like
hold on.
certain places, you're like, okay, like they're definitely gonna have fresh espresso. This is one of those places where I'm like, I know they have fresh espresso. So I'm like, and so I just kind of played dumb. I'm like, what'd you put in this? And he was like, it's like espresso, vodka, coffee liqueur. I'm like, So then his girlfriend ends up coming into the bar and sitting next to me,
no.
and she orders one. It was an outdoor bar that was detached from like the main restaurant. He goes inside, comes back with one of those little petite espresso cups. I look at him and he sees me look at him, No word. I mean, you know my face. I'm like,
Yeah.
ain't no fucking way he just played with me like that. So then he comes over and he like he tops hers off and he has like some little extra. So he pours in a little cup. He's like, try this one. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's how it's supposed to taste.
He goes, yeah. It's my girlfriend. She like requests fresh espresso. Next time, like if you want it that way, just like let me know. I was like, I shouldn't have to ask for a fresh, like it should be standard. If you have the option to give fresh espresso, why would you not?
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference. And the quality of the foam, you know, that goes into the rigor of the shake.
Okay, you're really.
Oh, like I'm in deep.
Okay.
I'm in deep. Yeah. So there's a lot that goes into a good espresso martini.
It's true.
Yeah.
And like, who doesn't love an espresso martini?
It's good any time of day. You need a pick me up. You need like a nightcap. You need something to keep you going. Any time of day. But other than that, like I'm a tequila guy, so I'm actually I'm not very picky when it comes to alcohol. I'm just kidding. Like any cocktail, like give me anything.
Twigga.
Yeah. No, I love cocktails.
Okay.
So whiskey.
Hi, this is AA.
Yeah, right. I'm like, hi, my name is Justin. Welcome, Justin. I like tequila. I like whiskey. I like it all.
Yeah.
What's your go-to?
I'm a mezcal girl. I can drink like mezcal straight with like either an orange slice or like a lime. Okay. I think that's good. Like chilled. Obviously, I'm not psychotic.
You're not. Yeah.
Espresso martini all day or like a Kettle One martini up with olives.
Wow.
Those are like my 3 rotations.
So Kettle One specifically.
I don't know why. I think I just like probably heard that somewhere.
And just like sounded.
I think, actually I know what it was. Chelsea Handler. I used to be obsessed with her when I was a kid.
Okay.
And she would always get she would always get Kettle One.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm going to do that.
Okay. Wow. I'm impressed that you like mezcal.
Really? I think it's so good.
I love mezcal, but that's like the smokiness is usually a bit much for people.
Yeah. But you have to like sip on it. Like I feel like mezcal, like margaritas are good, but you have to like.
Yeah, I like it in a cocktail or just like straight.
Yeah.
Sip it. Very nice.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's a Gemini thing.
I think it might be a Gemini.
But yeah, we're locked in on the drinks here.
I love that.
Yeah,
I feel like that's also like going back to the unnecessary icks. When a guy orders something that's like,
I would ick
like a little bit of like a fruity. It's like if you're ordering like if there's like a slushy rosé and you order that.
Okay,
this is gonna be our first and last date.
That's
period.
freaky. That's freaky. But it's like it's a running joke though. I'd probably give you such an ick to be honest with you.
Really?
So like again, it's like I feel like I have an excuse for like I just love trying cocktails. So I'll never order a slushy. Like I'm not that insane. Yeah. But I do like if you go to like a speakeasy or a cocktail bar, like a really nice cocktail bar, a lot of times they'll have like a little depiction of what the drink will look like, how it's served, right?
Right.
Is it neat? Is it on like, cubed or is it in a tiki glass, right? Mm-hmm. I am it's like a running joke. Unintentionally, I will try something and it's coming out in like a freaking tiki head with an like umbrella, like a lei and like the whole night. I'm like, what the fuck?
You're like, that's mine.
Yeah, I'm like, they give it to the girl and it's like, it's here.
Okay, well that's fun though because you're just being adventurous.
Yeah, it's just because I'm like trying different things. And it's like, if I go out, I'll never get the same drink twice. Okay. Even if I love it, I want to try different things on the menu.
See, like it's just an explanation. Like if I knew that, then I'd be like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I went on a first date once where the guy got
Shirley Temple.
Oh, that would be mental. That would just be.
Imagine.
No, I can't. But this is almost actually worse, to be honest with you. He got a rosé. It was like, of course, it was in Venice. So like I shouldn't even have been there, point blank period. But it was a rosé with Red Bull slushy.
Wait. What?
It's like an adult Four Loko. I was shook, gobsmacked, jaw to the floor.
What?
No, I know.
Like, did he create that or was that on the menu?
No, it was on the menu. Can you imagine?
Ew.
No, and I went to the bathroom and I come back and this is also such a red flag. He fucking ordered my drink for me. I'm like, first of all.
On a first date?
Yes.
Shut
criminal.
up.
I already knew him, so like, still criminal.
Did he like know what you liked or was he just like, she'll take a vodka soda?
Like, and for the lady, it's like, I think the fuck not.
What?
I don't want to have heart palpitations and a heart attack
Perhaps here. A salad?
Perhaps not. No, literally that. I was like, what's this? And he's like, oh, I got you what I was drinking or like what I ordered. I'm like.
He got you the same thing?
Yeah. And I was like, this is.
Oh no.
It's not good.
Did you go on a second date?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
The bartender, I was like, hey, yeah, I can't drink this because I'm not trying to die today. So like, I'll just take a Sauvignon Blanc.
That's a liquid heart palpitation.
No, mental. And the waiter was like, yeah, that was bizarre. I'm like, thank you.
That's fucking crazy.
But like, first of all, like, why is this even in your fine establishment?
On the menu?
Is this, no, Four Loko. Have you ever had a Four Loko? That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, in 2013. Like, yeah.
No, I know.
That's wild.
I know. Do you have any like wild dating stories where you're like, what happened? I mean, I have so many, but
nothing like that. But so weird. When this was probably in maybe like 2018, 2019.
Okay.
And matched with this girl on Hinge, I think it was. She was like super interested. Like the texts were like flowing, you know, like when you're just like in a good flow, right? I'm like, okay, this is good vibes. Like this is gonna be a good date, you know? And so the day of the date came up, heard nothing. I don't know why this happens to me. No. So heard nothing. I'm like, all right, that's weird. Cold calls me. We had never spoken on the phone. Like, I know that call is like, damn. So I'm like, okay. She's like, hey, sorry, was that like a work event? Like, are you still down? I'm like, what, to go on our date that's scheduled in 10 minutes? Like, I guess I can like turn the oven off. Like I thought this was a wash. Yeah. And so she's like, yeah, like let's meet at this bar, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Like, let's do it. I'm like, maybe I was overthinking. Maybe she really was busy today, right? So I get to this bar, sit down. I'm sitting where like the door's this way, right? So I'm facing the door, her back's to the door. And I'm like talking, I'm like carrying the conversation. I'm like, where's the person I was texting? Like,
right, because that can happen.
I know. I'm like, this is weird. I'm like, it was good vibes. Like, yeah, okay. So then she like stops me mid-sentence and she's like, I'm sorry, like, I have ADD. Like, can we switch seats? Like, I have to see the door. I'm like, sure. Like, you got it. Like, no problem. So I'm like, what the hell? What? So we switch. The entire date, she's like looking out the door. Like she'll cut back to me and then like just look out the door. I'm like trying to catch her.
You're like, what are we looking at?
So I keep turning around. I'm like, is there somebody like behind me? Is like, what is this? And she's like, I'm sorry. Like, what were you saying? I'm like, I was saying check. Like, what do we do? Like, it was so
was
awkward.
She drunk?
No, we had one drink.
But like maybe the work event.
Maybe, but it was just so like not. I think she yawned at one point. I'm like, hey, listen here, listen here. I might be a lot of things. If there's one thing I'm not, it's boring. You know what I mean? And like, I'm carrying this conversation, and so yeah, that was probably that's one of the worst days I've ever been. I'm like, never. I was like, hey, like, let me walk you home. It's like dark, whatever. She's like, oh, I'm fine. I'm like, all right. She's like, yeah, we just stop at the corner here. I'm like, bye. Never heard from her, saw again. It was really, really odd.
And that's that.
And that was that.
That's a story, though.
That's a story.
That's an awkward one.
So odd. Yeah. Especially like the contrast between like, you know, like when you're texting somebody, you're like, you seem so normal.
I know. I don't understand how that happens when people like, it's like you have so much personality via text, but then like it just doesn't translate. Like
this was like before Chat GPT. So I'm like, I know it was you, I think, unless your friends were like, I don't know. But it just went from banter to bizarre. Like, it was just banter to bizarre. Like, literally just stared out the window the whole time. Like, this is so odd.
No, that's strange.
Yeah. I was, like, grasping at straws for new topics to talk about.
And that's, like...
Eventually, I'm like, all right, you know, like, I'm going to, like, stop talking and let's see what happens. And I would test it out for, like, 30 seconds at a time and just be silent. I'm like...
Oh, it's awful.
So, ever been to Chicago? You know what I mean? Like, what do we talk about? Like,
yeah. No. I mean, I've been on dates where, like, a man will not ask me one question, and I'm just like, oh, no. And he's like, I had so much fun tonight. Like, you were amazing. Yeah, bitch, because you talked about yourself the whole time. What do you mean? I was literally, like, conducting an interview for you. God. This was mental. It's just, like, some people just don't have the fucking awareness. Yeah. And I just, like, it's, like, you have to, like, learn how to date. I don't know, like, where, like... the muscle, like, I don't, you gotta just like maybe go on more dates, but like people just don't.
Are you on the apps?
No, I'm booed.
Oh, you have, okay, nice. Did you guys meet?
We met on Raya.
Oh, no way.
So, okay. But, and that's, he was just very like ask good questions, listen, funny. I was like, okay, you're normal. But like, that's just like a dime, like out of like so many people. It's like you go through the fucking trenches.
And I've heard that, Raya out here well, I don't know if it's like Raya in general or like Raya out here or dating apps in general out here. Did you find like, because I've got some friends that are on and they're like, yeah, we'll match and like talk to people, but like it's very rare to actually meet up with somebody.
I know. It's like, what are we doing?
Like, what's
so
the
many
point?
men, it's just like, you're shooting your shot, I accept your message, and then it's like crickets. It's like, bitch, I'm not gonna like fish for you.
Right.
It's like people are so, it's like men with their delicate egos where it's like, we're not gonna chase.
Once you get a good one, don't let them
Snatched.
go. Don't let them go.
No, period. But I mean, it is, it's crazy. But
we love that for you.
Thank you, Justin.
Yes.
I think we moved to some Reddit. So I was telling you earlier, before the cameras are rolling, we're gonna read through. I was scrolling, deep diving, as we do.
As one does.
Found some interesting topics. So I'll read the prompts, and then we're just gonna kind of give our
take
on it. Do you watch Sex and the City?
No.
Oh my gosh.
But I
feel like you would. No, you would love it.
Would I?
I could just. I don't know you that well, but I feel like I do know you now. Like,
so
we
I
are
need to tune
homies,
in.
and I think you would be into it.
You know what I have been watching? The
What?
Mormon, the mom talk.
Is that already on?
Yeah, it came out like last week, maybe.
Is it
on
tea?
Hulu?
Like, what is it?
Yes, tap in. Mom talk goes crazy. Those Mormons
Mom
are
talk goes
off their rocker.
crazy.
Like, it's tea.
Well, I heard that they're like swingers, so they're all just like fucking each other.
Yeah, but once upon a time.
Okay.
Now it's like the aftermath of like one of them kind of like outing their whole little secret. And like now it's just like about the dynamic of all the girls and like it's like a power dynamic and just like drama and that's why your man's had a Tinder profile for the past 3 years. Yeah, it's crazy.
Wait, okay, so they all are aware that everybody's fucking everyone.
Well, so the rules started like when they first started swinging, it was like, okay, you can only like make out with each other's partner like if the other person's in the same room. It was like soft swinging. Like
also like awkward, no?
Awkward, right? Like weird either way you dice it up, but it's like it was like these rules like only if we're in the same room, right? And then one of the girls like took it to another level and actually like went through with hooking up with one of the husbands like behind closed doors and then one of the main girls like, so they all were part of Mom Talk, right? And then one of the girls like took it upon herself to kind of like out the whole thing, like, oh, we're all swingers, and all the girls like, what the fuck, like we didn't sign off on this. And then that stirred up a bunch of drama. And it's good.
Tea.
It's tea.
You grab your espresso martini with 3 beans and you just sit and listen.
That's what my past couple of nights have been, actually. So I'm not all the way through.
Is it the whole season's out?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
I love like a good binge watch. Okay, but after that, you got to watch Sex and the City.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've heard good things.
I feel like you're giving me Charlotte.
Ooh, I don't know how to react to that.
Take it as
I guess we'll circle
Guess you'll
back
have to
after I
watch the
and be like,
season. You'll be like, listen, bitch. I hate, you ever like when you were in class and you had to read out loud?
The popcorn reading?
I'm like, okay.
Wait, do you no shot you know who Shannon Sharp is?
No, but why does that sound familiar?
He's a football player and he's like a sports commentator.
Okay.
And there's like this infamous interview where he was like, yeah, so I was sitting in the class and the teacher was like, okay, Johnny, time to read. And this motherfucker couldn't read. And she goes, it sounds like, Johnny, it sounds like. And Shannon goes, it sounds like Johnny can't read. And it's just insane. Yeah.
Wait.
Popcorn
the teacher
reading,
said that?
Well, no.
No, half of my trauma is from like elementary school, like the popcorn reading, the having to like the fucking whiteboards. Remember those? You had to like write like your answers on those.
Yes. Go to the front of class, do the math problem.
No, that would never be me. I would rather go home. Like I would like see myself
Actually,
out of the room.
I'm ill.
I'm so ill. I can't do it. No, I was so bad at math. What was like your strongest?
Does art count?
Yeah.
Like art.
Okay.
I was like undefeated in art. But I honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I was in like the GT AP classes. I did my thing. I was pretty good at pretty good in science. Yeah, I said science, art and science were like, of course PE because I'm just an athlete.
Did you do sports?
I ran track in college.
You're tall, so it's like.
Yeah, football, basketball, track.
Okay. I re-downloaded Hinge and saw my friend's boyfriend of a few months on there, and it said that he was active today. I know I need to tell her, but I don't know how to do so or if it's my place to even say something. So for context, all of us go to the same college, which is why his profile showed up on my page. I took a screenshot. What should I do? I'm nervous to tell her.
Send it.
Send it.
Send it.
Run it. Send it.
What you mean? What you waiting for?
It's so awkward. Also, like the fact that it's like just a few months. Like, okay, what is your take? Like getting off the apps. Like you start to talk to somebody. You're a few weeks, months in. Like, when is the appropriate time to be like, I'm gonna log out. I'm gonna delete the apps.
Yeah. So this is also some real life experience here, where I think like communication is so key. Like early on, like not just when you're in a committed relationship, like communication is so key because people are different, right? Like there's some people where, hey, if we haven't had the conversation of what are we, then it's like, okay, we may not be exclusive. Like you're still playing the field, I'm still playing the field. And until we have that conversation, fair game, right? Like that's can be some people's mindset. Other people are like, okay, once we go on a second, third date, like I'm not exploring other options. Like, I don't know what you're doing.
Right.
There's other people who are like, once we start hooking up, like, I'm not okay with you hooking up with other people. If that's what you want to do, cool, but it's not going to be with me. Right. So there's like, people have different expectations, but like, unless you communicate those expectations with the person, then like, you like, what is the other person supposed to do? Right. So again, it goes back to like, I feel like some people are like, oh, I don't want to be like too crazy or pressed. Like it's early on, but it's like, it's just setting boundaries, right? Like it's not crazy. It's you're setting your boundaries.
I think we look at like the boundaries as like, like you're gonna look crazy. It's like no. It's like, hey, my expectation is like if we're hooking up, like I'm not hooking with other people, and I'm not comfortable with you hooking up with other people. If that's where you feel like you're at, then like let me know. No harm, no foul. Like you're good, but like that's just not what I'm interested in. Like have the conversation, right? Yeah.
So I don't know what old girl's situation is, but that's like once you do your diligence of sending it, that's on them to figure out. Maybe she could be like, oh girl, like I know, like I'm that's still true. On, like we've talked about whatever. It's like, okay, cool, you did your job. But God forbid they had the conversation and he's selling the dream, blow his shit up.
But it is such a touchy subject where it's like you don't want to appear a certain type of way. But I think like if we're like a few dates in, like, or even like just hooking up, like not even sex, just like other stuff. It's like, y'all better, like, the doors better be closed.
Right.
Or you better communicate that. And like, I personally would not put up with that. Like, I just like don't want to be like around other, like, it's like you have options, go like see those. I'm not going to be it. But like, yeah, like you really have to, like, I don't know, have that conversation. Yeah.
I mean, and I think unless you like, you give more leeway to the other person if you don't communicate your expectations, right? Because then you'll be like, well, we didn't talk about it. I didn't know. I mean, they're kind of right. Like if you didn't, you can't just assume that they're on the same page as you because people have different expectations.
Yeah.
So.
Ugh, but that's so awkward.
That is wild.
Definitely send it.
Send it.
Send it.
Send it.
CC us.
Yes.
We'll be there for you, girl.
Yeah.
Next one. I've been chatting with a guy on Tinder for a month already. This is not off to a good start. Okay. Not Tinder.
Y'all haven't made it out the app?
Huh?
They haven't made it out the app?
Yeah, they've been talking. Oh!
Are they like still on the app a month in?
I think so.
Or am I reading into that?
No. That's a good catch. Okay, that's a red flag.
Oh my God.
I think you need to move it off the app like within the first few days.
Yes.
If not immediately. Like I think it's good when a guy's like, hey, let me take you out. Like, what's your number? And then we just go from there.
Right. Oh my God.
Or like Instagram if you don't want to like ask for a number.
Right.
Okay. Good find. Already unwell. We're both unwell. Okay. We plan to have our first meetup. Okay, first of all, why are you guys talking for a month? Everything was set for him to drive down this past Sunday. We've been, this goes back to the popcorn reading. You got it. Okay, we've been talking about it all week, and then on Monday oh shit, I'm just gonna paraphrase this because this is a little bit too long. He was supposed to meet up with her. They had a date, and he did not message her day of. Message her kind of like what you went through. Oh. So message her on Monday, casually claiming that he was tied up with work and had some things going on. Part of me wants to just drop him and move on, but I'm torn. Should I be upset or just let this one go?
Well, sweet girl. I don't want, I'm trying not to pass judgment, but first red flag is like, you're still communicating in the app.
Period. And I didn't even clock that.
Second red flag is it's taking a month for you guys to even schedule a meetup. Mm-hmm. What's going on?
Right.
So to me, this would kind of be the third red flag. And here's the thing. She plays a role in this because you are, and I don't want to be harsh like a dick, but like you're kind of setting the bar of your value by allowing yourself to stay communicating with him for a month in the app, stay communicating for a month without being asked out, right?
Yeah,
so
like, totally.
I wouldn't be surprised if she gave it another shot, but like for me, that'd be like 3 strikes, bucko, swipe.
Swipe.
Yeah, I'd be like, bro, I don't have time for this. Like,
yeah, you are like setting the tone of what like they're like you have to let people know the blueprint of like what you allow and what you don't very early on. So if you're gonna be like the cool girl and be on the apps and like whatever, it's like no, you got to be a little more like high value in a way.
Yeah. So I mean, I guarantee you, if she does see him, he's gonna be like, oh shit, I can get away with this. Shit.
Like, what's next, babe?
Right. I hope she doesn't see him. For her sake.
I know these were all like recent as of like. This is like real time
really?
Shit. So if you guys do see this, if you're watching the After Curfew podcast,
let us. Yeah,
Girl,
don't
do
it.
Don't do it.
As always, CC us, BCC us.
BCC us. Yeah, keep us incognito. We don't want to be in this messy shit. Come on. No. My partner has been very secretive on their phone. They change their passcode. They dismiss it when I ask, saying that they're just setting boundaries. This never used to be an issue, and it's making me really anxious. Is this a red flag, or am I just being paranoid? Bitch. The fuck? I think, okay, what are your thoughts on passcodes?
Yeah, it's a great question. So I do have some thoughts.
Okay.
And I feel like I hope I'm not like beating around the bush with my answers, because I think I don't like to just give black and white answers for certain things, because I think a lot of things are situational, right? Like,
of course.
I'm not going to be like, yeah, give him your password, or like never, right? Like, I think it's so situational. I think you have to take a look, and like, I don't want to go too deep, but I feel like it depends on if there's been breaches of trust, if somebody has been through past traumas. Like, you have to understand each partner, their relationships, their past, their present situations. Like, I'm curious what has led her to the point of like wanting his passcode. Has he done something to breach that trust?
Right.
Or like now it's like, okay, if we're gonna stay together, like that's something that I need.
Yeah.
Or is it just like off the jump, like, oh no, my expectation is like, I got your passwords, I got your everything. Like, that's a different story, right? Because if we're just starting out dating and you're like, we're a month in, you're like, I need your password, I need your location, I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes. Like, where's this coming from? Let's unpack that, right?
Right.
But if this man has cheated, or this man has lied about his whereabouts and all that, and it's like, hey, I need to build trust with you, I need your passwords, and it's like, and you guys have agreed to that, and but he's changing his shit.
No, I think that's the change. It's like
changing the password is crazy.
Changing your password is absolutely like mental. I think that would be like the thing for me, where it's like, okay, if I had it before, if I never had it, like I've been in relationships where I just never knew my partner's password, and I didn't really pay it any mind. I mean, I know my partner's password now. I don't know it like off the top of my head. I have to always re-ask, because like it's not, I don't need to be in there for any reason whatsoever. Right. But like, yeah, I think it's an okay thing to have, like, because like, you know, there's like, if you want to like change a song, or you want to like take a photo, it's like whatever. Like,
if it's like incidental stuff like that, where it's like, oh, like I'm cooking and you're like, oh, what's your password? Like, I want to like change whatever. It's like, cool.
But that's what would fuck me up. If I was like, hey, like, let me check something, and they're like, oh, I changed my password, I'd be like,
what are you hiding?
Hell no.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Like, what are you hiding?
No, like that.
Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. It's also one of those things of like, if she is the type where she's like, I need your password, it's like, you know, what, like, if you feel like you need to go looking for something,
there's probably something
you know what I mean? Whereas if you're like, okay, like, I trust my partner, like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm chilling. Like, if I need his password for something, I know he's gonna give it to me, then, you know, that's healthy to me. But if it's like a control thing, or like, you know, I think it's a bit toxic. But like nonetheless, the changing of the passwords is a sign.
All of these. And I feel like even when you're like on Reddit, or you have to like ask the community, you're already like in such a deep fucking place where it's like, baby girl, like, if I ever had to Reddit about my man,
advice from the community,
Ugh. Unwell.
Godspeed.
Sending you love
Thoughts and prayers.
light. Thoughts and prayers
Yeah.
because it's not going to be good.
No.
Or you know what? It will be good because you're going to have a glow up.
She's going to pop off.
So real.
He's going to be stuck there, change his passwords with somebody else who's going to leave his ass. Mm-hmm. So she's going to thrive. He's going to be lonely. And she's going to live her best life.
Period on that.
We know that. Yeah.
We're going to end it.
We're going to manifest that for her.
We're going to manifest that.
Yep.
And we're going to end that on a high note.
I love that.
This was a fabulous episode. I loved this little kiki girl talk with you. This little yap sesh.
We love a yap sesh. I'm
Justin,
a yapper.
Yes, you are.
So,
Gemini yappers.
Yes, so thank you for having me.
Justin, it's been so great having you here. Thank you for chatting with us
Pleasure.
on the After Curfew podcast.
Yes, thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.